All right, community member interview here uh, with Garret. Garret, thank you for coming on, man. You've been in the community now since what was it again? February.
Yeah, I think February, early February.
Okay, and in that time, it's now May. Been able to do some pretty awesome things. Currently up to some awesome things. I noticed this. We were talking earlier. I noticed your hat, like the company you work,
Yeah, like the
gave you
merch.
gave you a hat. But yeah, man. So basically, in I don't know 90, 100, last 90, 120 days, been able to go from like what is seemingly a completely different life to this, which is crushing it in online remote sales. So, can you give us the kind of rundown on like what you were up to before you got into this space, why you got into this space, and just the story up until like I don't know, joining the community maybe?
100%. So, where I started out with getting into sales, I mean, I've always kind of followed influencers like most people. Like you follow money Twitter, you kind of get pulled into that like funnel, essentially of like a different zeitgeist of people. But there, I wanted to really get into sales. Like, I didn't really think copywriting was for me. Didn't really think ecom was for me. I just like talking to people. I pretty much do that all the time anyway. I was a bartender at the time, and I was in college, so I was like, yeah, I talk to people all day. So, yeah, I pursued sales from there. Took pretty much any opportunity. I didn't know what I know now about those the silly ones that you'll find all over the place with Facebook and Instagram. So I would just like cold DM like realtors in Minnesota, or like work for some ecom guy and he didn't talk to me at all. Like, and it was through Telegram, all kinds of weird stuff like that. So pretty much put a burner on that until I understood it a little bit more. Uh, Finished up college, took a job, working hospitality. I was a manager of like a division of, events division at like this large hotel. So we would do like congressional events. We would do dinners for like large corporate parties, stuff like that. Hated that. Pretty much did like 60 hours a week, every week, come in early in the morning, leave late at night or even overnight. Didn't eat or drink like the entire day. So I went back to sales. I knew sales is what I wanted to do. So I finally found on LinkedIn this cold calling job, and I kind of know that it's either door to door or cold calling is really going to get you in the door. So I took that, called pretty much whenever I was working, like in the office and no one was around, or I'd call before work, after work, anything I could do to make this happen. So I made a little bit of money there, got a little bit better on the phones, learned how to actually talk to people and what you needed. Um, to kind of get involved in the sales space, but still I felt like I was spinning wheels. So that's when I kind of followed you, I think, and then I was just so unhappy with doing both and still not even cracking what I thought sales could be for me. So that's when I took that leap, and since then, obviously took went for any job that was posted in the community, went through all the videos as soon as possible, pretty much went through everything, secured a pretty good job with from this interview because we talked about paying for Twitter Premium to jump the line on that for the interview job or whatever. But used all your interview cues for that. Pretty much asked great questions. I think I just came off as personable and like a sales professional, which is exactly what I wanted to be, and secured that. And since then, it's been pretty good.
Yeah, it's a all encompassing rundown. I want to add in the part where you said that earlier that well, you and I jumped on the first call, and you were like in your car, like where you were at work or on your phone or something. Like, what was the situation there?
I scheduled that the call, and then work it was work, so like I thought I was gonna leave hours and hours before that, and obviously I got called back in, but I knew that this could change my life. So I literally just like left out of the dinner that I was running, went to my car. I know it was raining. It was like 9 p.m. I put my phone above my steering wheel and I attended the call that way. So
Yeah,
uh, kind of humble beginnings.
just dedicated, man. Um, so you, I guess, like you had tried to get into the space like before joining the community. Like, I think, like most people, like you give it the good college try by yourself, right? Like you go to the groups and Instagram DMs, but like what was like the biggest shift for you after joining the community, and like how it was able to kind of like accelerate things versus you just doing it on your own.
Well, there was a lot of good tips in there about vetting offers and understanding like the actual intricacies of the differences between real sales opportunities and just everything else. There's also like, I guess, being like a sales professional and understanding like how to market yourself correctly and how to ask the right questions was in there, as well as just like the job postings and where to find things. Like I was a little bit off the mark. Like I was doing a lot of outreach methods that I've learned through other avenues, but finding actual high level sales jobs was something that I didn't really have access to or understand before.
Yeah. And then as far as we chatted about this before, just like the types of people that you would find like in certain community, like in the community versus like maybe you're in like a free group chat, or like I don't know, you find people on Twitter. Like what did you notice about like the types of people that were in here versus like I don't know anyone you had met prior?
Yeah, well, I know a lot of salespeople, and I've been kind of in a lot of communities and in the space a lot. Um, but I think the thing that was surprising about this group is that essentially these people are like a step above like learning sales or like doing sales and something else or trying to build like a personal brand. These people are like sales professionals, and it feels good to be in the space where everyone is like genuinely trying to be like from setter to closer and then to sales manager, or even become like owning their own business and then trickling it down. Like everyone here is trying to perfect sales
Yeah.
as a career, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, man. And then just by extension, like you have people that, compared to some maybe some other places, they are taking it a little bit more seriously. And then they're, that little bit of effort translates in a lot of different places. It's like the teams that they're getting on, and then in our hiring channel, they're posting teams that you wouldn't have access to in other places because these guys are just like pushing, for the best stuff that they can get. Um, what did you mentioned that like when you interviewed for the company you're on now, and like I'm not going to get too specific, but you're on an offer that I think a lot of people actually you're on two, but you're on one offer that I think a lot of people are really aiming for, especially as appointment setters starting out. What did you take away from the interview stuff that you think allowed you to secure that? You did mention asking specific questions, but was there anything else there?
Well, I think I had a shift of, I guess when they ask about experience, I used to like leverage like training. Obviously, I'm not afraid to pay for training or pay for, communities and stuff like that. But I try to leverage that. But then I learned that it's more about leveraging like cash collected and very specific metrics and numbers in your interview. Not only to show that you're a sales professional and you track everything, but also just like what as an instrument of sales you're doing for a company. So that's what I did for them very specifically, is that I broke down like the numbers that I've already provided, like all of the calls, that I would do, even like how much I would outperform like everyone else just in sheer output. And I think that that's what helped me a lot.
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's a lot of people like training maybe in 5 years ago was enough to get you a job, but like now it's not necessary by any means. But like, dude, there's a lot of people with training. Like they want to know people that know how to like bring quantifiable value to a company, regardless of whether or not that was in high ticket sales yet or
Mhm.
not, or it was in like hospitality. Like you were managing over 100 people, right?
Yeah,
So clearly there's like some level of competence there, even though it's a different industry. It's just finding out like how do we translate that to be valuable where we're going, um, which is definitely a big part. I think since you joined, like we've changed things around a little bit, and we actually are like rebuilding resumes for people and
mhm,
like being very hands on with that. And like I think that's one thing that a lot of people look over is quantifying the experience, even if it's in a different industry. Um, Besides that, man, I guess being an appointment setter, again, talking about kind of the main offer, you're in basically what a lot of people are going for, especially in the beginning. What's been the experience like being remote, working from home, uh, just living that life?
dude. It's, I mean, it's unbeatable, really. I don't know if it's like universal, of an experience. Obviously, I have a bunch of friends that still do this corporate life or whatever, and they complain all day about how terrible it is and how also just about like coworkers and these like everyone that I work with is like a severe sales professional to the point of like they're obsessed with it, and I can only get better because I'm around them. And that speaks to like coworkers and stuff like that. But just speaking to like the setting, like this is all I want. Like this, I want to be at home, like controlling my own output. I don't have to drive somewhere or like sit in traffic or anything like that. Like this is completely optimal for me, and I can't believe that I'm lucky enough to be able to do it. Honestly,
Yeah. Do you know how many people, when you interviewed for that, do you know how many other people had interviewed or how many other people were considered?
no, I know he did. He was interviewing people like all day, but we didn't really talk about that.
Yeah, I doubt it was like one or two people. It's probably a good amount. So it's cool that you were able to pull through on that.
I know I
And
couldn't believe it.
I think another cool point that you might have some insight on is the DM versus phone setting. Like, put aside like earnings on both offers, just like the general workflow of being a DM setter versus being a phone setter. Like, what's been your experience there? And I mean, what do you prefer? And I don't know, maybe you could shed some light on that so far.
I like them both. For I like balancing them right now, even though I'm doing not good enough on the DM job, balancing it because I'm going too hard on the phone job. But that's another conversation altogether. But I mean, the cool thing about the DM one is that I'll answer DMs. I'll reach out to people when I'm like eating dinner or playing golf or something like that. I think that's really cool, and I think it's really cool that I can still leverage my experience and generate cash flow for myself even when I'm not even home. Like I was on vacation for a week and I was still like DMing people and making money from it. So I
Yeah.
mean, I can't believe now what I think about it, like in terms of for new people, like I don't think it's that good of experience. I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like I literally just, and I guess I'm versed in asking simple sales questions and handling simple objections, but that's really all it is. It's like someone's like, "Hey, are you selling me a course?" I'm like, "Oh, don't worry about it. We'll just hop on a call and I'll point you in the right direction," all that kind of stuff. But on a call, like phone setting, you can't be bad at that. You have to get good at it, or else it's not going to work out for you. So I
Yeah.
think that if you want to develop your career, like phone setting is the only way you can do it, really.
Hmm. Yeah. I agree with that too. I think DM setting is good, especially if you have very limited availability, because you can do it at another job where you don't actually do anything or like
Mhm.
off hours. But yeah, man. I guess another thing that you might have insight on too is like there comes a time where you gotta perhaps quit the other job, right? And like go
Yeah.
all in. So how did you manage that transition? Obviously, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world, but when did you know it was the right time to do that?
Yeah, because for a long time I was balancing the cold calling job, and I could tell that. I mean, I was literally anytime I would bring my laptop into work, set up the headset. Anytime I was alone in the office, I was calling people. Fuck it. So I was doing that like all day, but I still noticed it's like I couldn't dedicate like the like studying or call reviews or like actually treating this like a job. So when I found this, I knew I looked through the funnel, I looked through reviews, I looked through like how everyone was talking about how good of a job this is, and obviously they offer base pay plus commission, which is pretty good. But it gave me a little bit security there. But I knew this is the chance. I have to dive into this completely, or else where like I've squandered my own ability to make this a career. So I knew I'll dive into this if it doesn't work out, which I didn't really plan for that. But if it doesn't work out, I guess I'll find a job doing something else.
Yeah, I mean now it's to the point like you get a little you get connections in the space, you get familiar with how it works. It's like let's say tomorrow you wake up and the company you're with doesn't exist. Like I feel like you'd be able to find your way somewhere very decent again quickly because of well one the results that you now have. Like I don't know if you know your numbers on revenue that you set that close. It's probably more than most people. Um, but yeah, I feel like you'd probably be able to do it in a fraction of the time now.
Oh,
And
100%.
that's the thing with the community too, because a lot of guys, man, they'll come in and they're just thinking about that first job, but it's like when that first job is, is okay, but it could be better. Like 4 or 5, 6 months down the road, you want to leverage up. Like you come back to the hiring channel and you can go, like you can get another job from that. Um, and like, dude, there's levels to that, man. Like we have stuff that's, entry level, and then we have stuff that's management with 5-figure bases going through.
100%.
Um, and so, yeah, it would be, let's say you landed this job off of a cold Instagram DM, which would be a freaking moonshot, and then it disappeared today. Like to go back to cold Instagram DMs would be the worst thing in the world.
Right.
Like,
100%.
um, so yeah, no, I mean, the network is so valuable. Even the guys that you're working with now, like I'm sure if anything happened, or one of them went somewhere, like you would stay in touch. And like I've seen it now because I've been in this space for a little bit. Like I'm reconnecting with people that I met over 2 years ago. We didn't talk, and now we're doing different things and helping each other in different ways. So super important in this.
100%. Yeah, we did a company retreat beginning of April, and like I feel like I'm friends with these people now. Like I look at their end of day reports and I'm like, fucking nice. You got 6 sets today or something like that. I'm just happy to like
Yeah,
I'm gonna. These guys are like I want to keep up with them pretty much at all
yeah.
times.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot, man. I don't have too much more to ask you. I guess I don't know, for someone that's working the hospitality job post school, doesn't really love it, or for someone that's like, I don't know, looking for the next thing, maybe remote, get a little bit more freedom. Like, what's your best advice?
I hate giving advice to anyone, dude. I just got this is off topic, but I just got like my blue belt in jujitsu or whatever, and now people are
Nice.
like, they'll ask you for like instructional tips on something. I'm like, bro, I don't know anything. I'm still trying. Don't ask me. I'm scared. But I mean, really, like I'm already getting pretty old. I'm 24 now. I wish I had started this earlier. I guess it's really about like the opportunity cost and realizing that like you're always going to want to do it and you're always going to hate your job. So you have to just accept that it's going to suck for a while, and you have to accept that the only people who succeed are the people who can get through that it sucks. It is going to suck,
Yeah,
like just point blank. I mean, it can be made better by like networking properly and doing the right avenues, but it's not always good to, it's a hard lane to get into. Like if you wanted, like it was really easy to get my job. Like before this, like the hospitality job, it was just like a friend. They needed people to do it. It paid okay. That doesn't feel good. And anyone that's in sales should be someone that's trying to be the top level of themselves. So naturally, I think if you just keep that in mind, kick out all this nonsense of job security and oh no, what if I don't make enough? It needs to just be about being the best, it being the best version of yourself.
yeah. And then if you focus on that stuff, like not making enough isn't even really in the question.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even know you were into jujitsu like that, but I found, dude, many, many, many times over, like the guys that are best in sales, like they oftentimes are in stuff like combat sports,
Hmm.
or like have an athletic background, like they're competitors. And
Yeah.
if you're watching this and you like to compete at any level, like I don't know why you're still working $18 an hour, freaking Home Depot, you know?
Exactly. Like it bothered me. Like I'd get company emails and they're like misspelling words, or they're like miscounting like certain things, or they're mismanaging their employees. It's like I can't stand this. We
Yeah,
It should be about excellence, and that's what I feel in sales now. Like everyone I work with is trying to be better than me, and they're trying to be the best, and I love it.
yeah, sweet, man. That's a good spot to end it out. I think you have like a very relatable perspective going from where you were to where you are now. So I appreciate you hopping on. If you're watching this, uh, Garrett, if you want me to link any of your socials or anything below, if people will reach out to you, or you can get some clout, I will. Let me know. If he wants me to, I'll link it below. But if you are watching this, you want to meet guys like Garrett, work with me, have a shot to make this easier for yourself, then you know, rather than sending cold Instagram DMs, then go to the description. We can talk, and we'll take it from there. Thank you, Garrett.
Yes, sir. Thank you.